Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Your Future on Merit podcast with me, Will Koning, CEO and co-founder of Meritt. Today, I'm joined with someone that is exceptional in their craft, Sian Taylor. Sian is over at Klaviyo in sales management. The thing that we have in common is that we both love developing salespeople to become exceptional. She's won many accolades, I think Global SDR Leader of the Year, the Wiser Elite SDR Leader of the Year, I believe as well. Keep me honest there, Sian, if I've got that right. But yeah, we really are with someone that really knows their craft in the world of sales and sales development. Thank you for joining us, Sian. How are you doing today?
Great to be here. I am doing excellent and talking about sales. As we both know, we have this in common as well. Something we love to do.
Something we love to do, yeah. So one thing I also forgot to say is we're both ambassadors of the SDR Leaders of EMEA, which is how we met through our good friend Dave Wilkins. So we definitely are super aligned. This podcast is all about people that may be looking to get into the career. You know, we're not necessarily worried about the guys that are already on LinkedIn posting. You know, this is about those people thinking, why should I do this role? Very often, sales has a bad rep. Maybe unfairly, but a lot of the time, you know, I used to get pushback from my parents saying, hey, why do you want to be in sales? Why don't you go and be like a banker or an accountant? What's your story, Sian? How did you get here?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny you say that. I think this stigma of sales being this Wolf of Wall Street-esque
Yeah.
kind of environment is still so prevalent. And it's just that's never the experience I've had in all the companies I've worked at, which has been great. So we can cross that one off as we get further along. But
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same. I don't think when I was younger, sales, I mean, I'm confident sales never even crossed my mind as something
Yeah.
that I was going to build a career around. I went to university and did English literature. And I was in my final year thinking, what am I supposed to do with this degree?
Yeah.
I've, I've got this degree now. What do I do? And the thing I really loved was around being able to talk to someone, to understand, but also to influence, to kind of get them around to seeing my point of view, to be able to put together an argument and have people be like, well, yeah, I do see where you're coming from there, Sian.
Mm.
And it just so happened that I was thinking about where I can put these skills that I found recruitment, which was my entry point into the world of sales. Wasn't tech
Yeah.
sales at that point, but it was the world of sales. And really, there were two factors that had me accept that first role. The first was the ability to use those skills, but shape them into a set of skills that I could then apply to whatever job I wanted to
Yeah.
do in the future. The
Yeah.
foundational skills that you get in a career in sales or starting a career in sales, you use everywhere. Any role uses those skills.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
the second was from an economic standpoint, is at the end of the day, a BDR in the tech sales world now earns more straight out of the gate than a fully trained nurse or a recently certified accountant. So
Amazing,
the
isn't it? It's
earning
crazy, isn't
potential,
it? Yeah.
the earning potential is crazy. And you want to do something that you're passionate about and you want to do something that you love, which luckily that's where I got to. But you also want to be paid fairly for it. And the
Indeed.
harder you work in sales, the more you show up, the more you are rewarded. And I personally really like the meritocratic world of sales. I've always carried a number, I've always been in this kind of role. Um, but at the end of the day, didn't start out to get to this point. It's kind of found me, and I'm very pleased that it did.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much to unpack there. I'm gonna go right to the start. One of the things that really just stood out for me is you enjoy influencing outcomes, right? Like, who knew you could do that as a career? Like, maybe you could just unpack. Do you know what I mean? Like that's such an interesting point. Maybe you could just unpack that to someone like what that really looks like in real life.
Yeah, it's a very fancy word for effectively getting someone to do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
But it started out with writing an essay, right? Or writing a piece of work. You're writing an essay in English, you're trying to argue your point of view around
Yeah.
why you think that this book, poem, or whatever should be read this way. Um, and I was good at it. I was good at public speaking. I was good at
Mm.
having conversations with people. And the translation into that was recruitment at the start. And when you think about that, it's even down to getting your sibling to do the thing you want them to do rather than the thing they want to do.
Yeah.
That that's sales. That's
Very
sales.
much.
Convincing
Yeah.
your mum that you should be able to get that dog that you want. That at the end of the day is the heart of what sales
I was excellent
is
at that. Yeah.
I 100% put together a PowerPoint on why I should be allowed a pet when I was younger.
Yeah.
So it starts early and you may not even realize that you're doing it. So
Mm.
it's something as simple as that is being
Yeah.
able to listen to someone, understand a situation, and put forward an idea or ask some more questions to understand why someone thinks that way,
Mm.
and then have them see things through your lens, or be able to then come back to them with a counter narrative if you need to. But it's all about how do you understand the situation and use things to your advantage, and kind of
Yeah.
dig into it a little bit more to um, get to that outcome that you're looking for.
Do you know, I absolutely love your approach to how you answered that, and I think it's so interesting. I don't have a degree. I had too much fun at university, but you know, you've clearly taken something that you learned to do from, I imagine, doing lots of essays in your A levels and now your degree, and you have taken that skill set and you have applied that to how you can approach sales, because that's, I'm assuming, what you did. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not what I think is really key to say is that's not the only approach that you can have to sales,
Right.
which is beautiful. No two people sell the same. That was
Yeah.
the how I lent into where my skill set was to
Mm.
give me an edge. But there are so many brilliant salespeople out there. Like you, for example, you lean way more into the technology and how that can help you, and you see the world differently and approach things differently. And that
Mm.
is the power of sales. I just happen to go this way.
Yeah,
Do I use
exactly.
my degree? Maybe when I was writing
Yeah.
emails as a BDR, potentially, but
I should hope so.
it's more the honing of the of my approach to things that I think
Right.
is where it did me well when I kind of
Yeah.
entered the world of sales.
It genuinely feels like we're both good salespeople, but we both probably have a very different approach. I can just tell talking to you, and it's just like looking at it from your lens. You're like, oh, that is so cool, because like, yeah, I am so emotive. I know my tech. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think anyone that's listening that that maybe is doing an English language degree or a history degree, I imagine any kind of those things, you can just see actually, hey, you can do something with that degree. You know
And
what
you
I
don't have
mean?
to be a teacher. You don't have to
And
be
you
a
don't
teacher.
have to
Don't
be
let
a
them tell you.
teacher.
Don't
Yeah.
let them tell you have to be a teacher. You don't. You can
Yeah.
come in at the end of the day. I lead sales teams. So you don't have to be a
Yeah.
teacher. I guess I actually turned out to be a teacher and so oh my
Oh, I
goodness.
was about to
I
say,
actually
I'm a
turned out to be a
teacher. Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah. I know, it's so funny. My family are all teachers, right? And I was the naughty boy at school. I just was. I was the one smoking cigarettes behind the bike shed.
That doesn't surprise me.
I was always in trouble. And hilariously, what do I end up doing? I end up building a sales school. Are you kidding me? Like, turns out I'm the one that's actually really good at teaching. I know so many people that have gone from doing something like you're doing, or like something random, you fall into sales, and then you end up teaching this thing that you've fallen in love with. Why do you think people like you and me end up doing stuff like that?
As in going into the teaching
Going
aspect.
back into the teaching aspect afterwards. I'm just genuinely curious. I'm going
Mm.
off piste here.
I think it's because of the kind of people we are. Because for me, I know, and you can tell me whether this kind of rings true for you, is while I found a lot of joy in hitting my own number, the ability to see someone else hit theirs outstripped it by a mile.
Yeah.
Because as an individual contributor, and some people are absolute weapons of individual contributors, and that's the way they stay because that is their skill set, that is their strength, that's
Totally.
where they find
Yeah.
joy. I found way more joy, and the ceiling for me got way higher when I realized I could influence a team of 9 people to all hit 100%.
Mm.
And
Mm.
what happens at that point, and seeing other people build incredible sales careers, see other people step through into those next roles that they would want.
Yeah.
That to me ended up bringing a lot more joy than me
Mm.
just carrying my own
The
individual target.
number.
Comes with its own challenges, but I think because we're so passionate about it, we want to share that passion, and you're getting full force of my passion whether you want it or not.
Oh, I can feel it right
If you're
now.
on my
Yeah, yeah.
if you're on my
I
team,
can feel it. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
coming, it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. You
But I
lucky
think
boy and
it's
girl, yeah.
yeah, it's probably because we have that passion and we want to
Mm,
share the joy with others, and that we personally find more joy in
yeah.
influencing and helping as many people as we can.
Did you know the average salary for an SDI is between £28,000 and £32,000? That's one of the highest entry-level jobs out there. The trick is standing out from the crowd to get that role. And with Meritt, we make that possible for you. So all you need to do is upload your CV and our AI will build your profile and match you with top companies in seconds. Then ace our video interviews to show off what makes you unique. Don't just apply, get noticed and get hired. So visit Meritt.io today and take your first step towards a high-paying SDR role. Remember, your future is on Meritt. I absolutely agree. I was one of the first sales guys at Perkbox, and we didn't have much budget to hire normal salaries. We were playing low, and so we did have people that were lower caliber. I ended up being one of the first managers, and I just remember we had no other choice other than to train. Literally, because we couldn't hire for experience because of the salary range. And I just remember that first time seeing that first person get a deal that you had coached them on. And for me, that was just it, where I was like, oh, okay, I actually really love the training. Like, I get out of bed for this, you know what I mean? It is so cool being able to do that. I think we could talk about that for days. There's something that I know that we were talking about offline that's really important. It's important to me. I think it's important to us as a society, which is the diversity inclusion within sales. There is to your point, the Wolf of Wall Street stigma. It does exist for a reason, right? There has been a past. We talk about recruitment. I started my sales career in a boiler room where it was that ego, macho man kind of sales. Thank God it's not like that anymore. You obviously have done quite a lot, which I'll let you talk about now, but I'd love for you to share with the audience like some of that learnings that you've done with Cambridge University. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am super lucky with the way that Klaviyo views learning and development. So we have a really generous learning and development allowance every year. Everybody does. And I
Yeah.
used mine to look at a course on leading change. Because for me, in order to get diversity later down the line, you need diversity at the start.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge then becomes, because I didn't hear about sales at university. I didn't know about the freedom that it could give you and the places you could go with it and the experiences you could have with it. You just hear sales and think about the car salesman or
Yeah. The
Wall Street.
Danny
Like that's the
DeVito,
way.
Matilda's car salesman,
Exactly.
all
Like
of that. Yeah.
it's not sexy. It's not
Mm.
like a career that people, or at least early on, are particularly proud to talk about, and that breaks my heart
Yeah.
because not only is tech sales a great enabler from freedom standpoint and learning, it is also a place where I've made some of my best friends
Sure.
ever
Yeah, same.
and met some incredible
Yeah.
people. So I took this course to understand how I could challenge my own biases. How could I think bigger when it comes to the end goal of getting more women to start sales careers? Again, Klaviyo is incredible from a female leadership standpoint, but
Yeah.
even diversity of background. There's a great book called Rebel Ideas.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it, I believe it's by Matthew Saig,
Mm-hmm.
about what happens when you don't have diversity of thought. And it's
Yeah.
TLDR, not
Scary.
great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
So the need for diversity is not only to help businesses flourish, but because I want everyone to have the same opportunities that I have had. I was lucky enough to live where I lived and go to university and have those experiences. But I want everybody to have access to a career in tech sales, regardless of
who you are.
the of who you are, the
Yeah,
education that you've had. It doesn't matter. Like there's no
yeah,
one person who's great at tech sales, um, and that is the beauty of it. So we should be
yeah.
doing more. And I think it's our responsibility as leaders to talk about sales and to challenge the way things have been done. And you're doing that incredibly with
Literally
your
with
platform
it's
and with
called
your
merit. Yeah, it's a meritocracy. We
yeah.
believe in equal access to education
Mm,
and opportunities for everybody, and then it's on the individual to progress, which is, everyone gets to be a salesperson if they want to be. They can try to be a
yeah.
salesperson, right? It doesn't the best you can have be silver spoons and have all the privilege in the world, or you can be from the slums of
Mm,
Mumbai. And within that plethora of people, that range, you will find great salespeople. That's why it's called merit and meritocracy. So you're literally
mm,
talking something I've dedicated my life to as well. Going back, I think just to almost put it into like how it's so important to me. How do we attract both young women? Frankly, there's not enough young women
mm.
entering the sales world, and I think some of the best salespeople I've ever worked with are women. Like literally, I've got the data to kind of prove it.
Yeah, women are actually
Really good.
more likely to
Yeah.
hit their sales targets than men are.
Yeah.
So
What? Why?
I
Like,
agree.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be seen to be leaning either way. Well, I am a bit. But why do you think women are so good at meeting their number?
So I think a lot of it, and don't get me wrong, I have incredible male sellers who
Of
also
course.
do this,
Yeah.
is the better you can understand the person you are selling to, not only what you're selling and what they might need, the more you can read the person,
Mhm.
the better it becomes. The psychology of selling is so clear.
Mhm.
So I think that plays a part is the natural skill sets, but I don't want to pigeonhole women in that way that we're
Sure.
empathetic,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're just
It's
nurturing.
got that slightly
Um,
negative connotation as well, doesn't
yeah,
it?
like
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of pigeonhole in that way. I think a lot of it comes down to mindset as
Yeah.
well, and the desire to kind of it's it sounds hard to keep pushing away the stigma that male sellers are where it's at because historically that was where you were. Investment bankers were male, like
Yeah.
your stockbrokers were male, that was the way it was. So I
Yeah.
think you think sales, you think males because they want aggression and ambition and all of those kinds of things. And along with the outdated view of what sales is, the outdated view of what a great seller is. Like the
Absolutely.
guys that I manage are not those people. They
Yeah.
are empathetic. They are thinking creatively, like all of those great things. And that just plays into today's hands because you don't have to be that person. That's not what makes a great salesperson.
Indeed. How I got told to think about it was not through sales at all. Actually, it was through a shaman in Costa Rica, believe it or not. And he was taught. He talks a lot about. It's not about whether it's a man or a woman. It's about masculine and feminine traits. And men can have feminine traits as much as they can have masculine traits, and vice versa. And I think what my take, and I'm curious to get what your thoughts are on this. It's like actually empathy, as an example. You've described empathy a
Mm.
lot. Seeing things from other people's shoes. Active listening, right? Is two of these, one of these in sales, and that gets lost, I think, a lot. I think they're quite potentially feminine traits, which is what I think why some women who have lots of feminine traits get it. And then at the same time, you can also be that ego-driven sale, and you can still bulldoze people to do sales. Trust me, I know. Which is a very masculine, alpha-y type way of doing it. It does work in certain cases. I know that. I can do it. Curious to get your take on how you see that.
Yeah, so I know as I dutifully prepared for coming to speak to you, one of the things that we were going to get onto is a quote that particularly comes to mind when I think
Yeah.
about my career. And it fits so nicely in here, like this part that we talk about. I'm going to have to jump the gun
Yeah, go for it.
because when I was early in my management and still trying to find my feet, because oh boy, did I mess up early on a lot of times. Um, was seek to understand before
Mm.
you're understood. And that
Absolutely.
is the trick to everything in sales. Most things in life, seek to understand before you're understood. Same goes with prospects. The more you can understand something, the better you can make yourself understood. Always all comes back to that influencing thing.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, your mum doesn't want you to have a dog. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that? Oh, I hear you, mum. Like, why is that? Oh,
Yeah.
it turns out that actually your mum is scared of dogs. And you have to
Yeah.
fight, like, that's something you didn't know before.
Yeah.
So all of it is so relative in this space. And that's where your empathy and your active listening comes from, is
Yeah.
um that natural need to understand the
Yeah.
situation.
It's like curiosity, isn't it? Yeah.
Curiosity, it falls into objection handling. Someone
I was going to
pushes
say,
back
you
on
sound just like
budget.
my objection handling training. Seek to
Yeah,
understand.
because it's the same thing. It's like, oh, that's expensive. Oh,
Yeah.
what do you mean by expensive?
Yeah. All of that.
Is
Yeah. Like
it,
how?
do
Yeah.
they have, yeah, do they have, is it because they don't have budget for it? Is it because it
Yeah.
just feels more? We miss the
Yeah.
value.
Have
Like,
we misunderstood how
why?
much this pain is costing you? Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. Or with
Mm.
discounting. Oh, I feel like I've done something wrong here. What's got us talking about discounting? Like,
Yeah.
understand, understand,
Yeah.
understand. It works as a seller, works double as a manager.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for
So
sure.
I think that's it, is that how do you get at the best grasp of the situation, the person, uh the task at hand,
Yeah.
to then be able to make yourself understood. Go
Yeah.
straight to the second part, the bulldozy Joey bag of donuts. Here's my technology. You're gonna have some of it.
Yeah.
Um, that's the second part.
Yeah.
Gone are those days. The first part is where we're at. How are we
All day long.
understanding?
It's so interesting, isn't it? Everyone thinks it's all like sales. It's all about pitch and close. Like
Mm-mm.
show them the features and that'll do. And it couldn't be further from the truth. It's like that the close is in the discovery. It's about understanding the pains, understanding the value you provide from solving those pains, the impact of the pains, all of that good stuff. And we're not here to give everyone a sales lesson. So just remind everyone, your favorite quote is, and me for that matter, your favorite quote is.
Seek to understand before you're understood.
Seek to understand before you're understood. What a great quote. That is a very modern seller's quote to live by across the board.
Mm.
And as a
And I use
manager
it
as well,
so
by the sounds
often.
of it.
I
Yeah.
use it so often. And it was that VP of sales when I'd not done a good job of coaching one of the people on
Yeah.
my team, because I just kind of bulldozed in and was all
Yeah.
over, like, we haven't covered these accounts off. And there was actually a very valid reason for it. And it broke
Yeah.
our trust for a bit. We got it back. But that's probably my favorite quote, along with more pipeline, less problems.
Yeah, all day long. Yeah, that's just every day, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Do you know what I think so funny as well is you obviously got that quote from a very good VP of sales. I'm guessing that's been around the bush quite a bit. I don't know who that person is. I have a mentor that used to be the CFO of HSBC UK, and he says the most simplest quotes as well. And the two that he always tells me are, it's the what, then it's the how, which is again a very simple quote, but again very very, as you think about it, that's a very very powerful thing. And then the other one is, it's a journey, not an event. And the reason why I'm bringing them up now is because they're so simple. And these people, Klaviyo is a newly minted IPO'd company. There's some very seriously good people in that company, like yourself, teaching this stuff. And here I am, dealing with some CFO of HSBC UK, or a former one. And again, it's you'd think they'd be like rattling off the most complex of advice. Isn't it interesting how it's literally the opposite?
Yeah, I think that's also a misconception about sales, is that it's very, very complicated, and you can absolutely make sales very, very complicated.
Yeah,
But the beauty is often in the simplicity.
always.
Is just being really good at understanding what's going on, is being very clear in the way that you speak to people. So if people are sat there thinking, oh, I don't know, like, or what if I don't have the skill set for it, is like, you absolutely do. And whatever you don't, we will teach you on the
Yeah,
way. All
exactly.
you need is the desire to go for it, and to
All day long.
try, and to bring your whole self, and to give 100% of what you've got every time. Because it's not complicated. The beauty is in the simplicity a lot of
It
the
is.
time.
I think it's important though to have a nuance between understanding simplicity is really important, but it's not necessarily easy simplicity, right? In fact,
Nope.
actually, simple is very hard. It's easy to write an email that's 500 words long, right? It's actually
Oh
very
yeah.
difficult to write an email that's like 30 words long that gets a response, and that's kind of like the
Mm,
job. Maybe not 30, but you get my point, right?
mm.
And anyone
Yeah.
thinking there it's simple is easy, they will be mistaken.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a discipline. Yeah.
It's it's hard and it takes a while to learn. Like one of the things I struggled with early on was attaching how I performed at work with how good of a person I was. And I think a fair few sellers go through this where you're very closely aligning your value as a person with the value you're giving against a number.
Mm,
And I had to spend a lot of time separating that out because this job is not easy.
no.
Like it takes a lot of resilience, it takes a lot of honing of your skills,
Mm,
being able to let yourself fail and learn, being able to keep going back over something until you have it right or until you've kind of been able to truly grasp it. And it's only after years of keeping practicing that you can do it so easily. Like I imagine you get this where you can very quickly tailor an email to a company you're talking to or a
all day long.
situation,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
because we practice so much. It's not
Years.
because it's
20
an
years,
easy
Sean.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Literally, it's
Yeah.
not because it's an easy thing to do at all. It's because it's been honed into us for
Yeah.
so long. So yes, great salespeople keep things nice and simple, but that simplicity is hard earned,
And
and you have
and I,
to
I
really want to keep going with it.
and I can certainly say, as someone that's gone from, customer service agent to salesperson, now to tech founder, like that skill of trying to keep things as simple as possible, it's an ongoing battle.
Mm,
I call our priority list the bonsai tree because you're constantly it's like that. You have to keep it really, really, and that's how you drive simplicity. But it's an ongoing war to keep that
mm.
simplicity, to keep that priority list focused. Otherwise, and if you lose focus, oh my gosh, anything can happen.
Yeah, the
Anyway,
curse of knowledge.
the
The
curse
more
of
you can,
knowledge. Yeah,
yeah,
I was about to
the
say.
more complicated you make things, and some of the best sellers are the ones that have the least
Yeah,
experience
yeah, yeah.
because they're just keeping it nice and simple, and then
Uh,
they get to know a bit, and you're like, what has happened here?
Yeah, the curse of knowledge is such a real thing in with
Mm,
SDRs in particular. Like for those that don't understand, the curse of knowledge was basically is because you know something, it then suddenly seems easy to you. But if someone you're talking to about it doesn't understand it, it creates this weird like dissonance, right? And so what happens is the brand new sellers, we saw this almost exclusive every single time in the academy. We trained like 400 SDRs in like 2 years. Every single time, when they didn't know and they're on the phone with the customer, they go, "Oh, I don't actually know the question. Can I just ask why that's important to you and I'll go find out?" And they loved that. The customer loved that, and that gave them a reason to have another call and book a meeting. But as soon as the product knowledge starts seeping in, and I'm always so anti-product knowledge for SDRs at the start, customer knowledge all day long, but product knowledge, I'm like, whoa, 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 wait. Because for that exact reason, whereby actually, hey, no, we need we need you to understand the customer more, and instead they're going, oh, me, I know the answer. Now the prospect doesn't have a reason to take another call. You know what I mean? And it just happened every time, that curse of knowledge. I love talking about curse of knowledge, if you can't tell. um, it's such an interesting one. Sean, we're nearly at the end. So we've had your quote. There was one thing I always ask. I want you to picture Sean when she just graduated from Reading University. If my memory serves me right, was it Reading?
it was
Yeah,
Reading University. Let's go
Reading
Knights.
University. So there you are. You are just finishing that last dissertation, thinking, what on earth am I doing with my life with this English degree? What three pieces of advice would you give graduate Sean when it comes to what we've been discussing?
What would I give? Three pieces of advice would I give graduate Sean? Number one is trust me that if you work hard, good things will come. Number two is you are not a doctor. This is not life or death.
Mm,
Like you have to let it go.
Yeah.
Another good quote is, if you won't remember it in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes on like worrying about something, because
Yeah.
oh boy, did I act like I was doing open heart surgery and the world was
Yeah.
about to end a lot of the time
Totally.
across my career.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what is meant for you will not pass you by. If you keep putting yourself out there and you keep trying and you keep
Mm.
chipping away and going after opportunities, the things will line up for you. Because sometimes
Yeah.
it's a bit hard to, as you kind of slogging through something, because it's not always a breeze. Like neither of us got to this point with a absolutely nice, smooth, straight line, and here we
It's
are.
never a hockey stick curve, is it?
Oh no,
No, no,
we went through some.
no.
So I think
Yeah,
they would be the key things. It's like keep working hard and know it will come to something. It's not
amazing.
life or death. You are not an open heart surgeon, and what's meant for you will not pass you by.
And to any young women thinking about sales, what would you say to
Oh,
them?
just do it. Just do it, because even if you do it and you don't like it, the skills that you build in sales will get you so many places. It's the same skill set for success, for account management, for
Yeah,
marketing, for
products.
going into
Yeah,
being teachers, product, whatever. Like the
yeah,
skill set that you learn in sales is the base skill set for so many things. And if you're on the fence about it, just try. Like, believe me, it's not like a lot of the time, it's not what you think it is. And
yeah,
if you're sat there worrying that you've only got a certain amount of the skills, we will teach you the rest. Never
yeah.
hire on skills. When it's so early in career, it's always, can I
Attitudes
see
and
that fire?
behaviours.
Can I see that
Yeah,
fire? I
all
can
day
teach you
long.
how to write a good email. That's not the
Yeah,
point.
it's not the hard. Yeah, yeah. That's actually like
Just
the
give it
easy
a
bit.
try.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Motivating you to keep going when things get
Yeah, yeah,
sticky.
yeah.
Well,
That's
that's
the
the
hard
hard
bit.
part.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's amazing. Look, and I think that advice also rings true to anyone looking to get into sales, whether
Mm,
you're a male, female, different ethnic minorities, majorities, whatever it might be. I'm kind of bored of all the labels, frankly. I just think everyone should be
mm.
in sales. So, but yeah,
Whoever you are.
whoever you are, yeah, there is a potential route for you if you've got that fire, and there's loads of
Yeah.
things there. So we are, of course, a sales podcast, Shan. So
Mm.
we do want to give you that moment to unashamedly pitch us something that you want to tell the world about. So yeah, go for it, Sean. What are you selling us today?
What am I selling you? So the first thing I came on here was to sell you a career in sales. So
I think you've done
hope,
that. Are
hopefully
you
I've achieved
hiring at
that.
Klaviyo?
We are hiring at Klaviyo. So hopefully
Yeah.
I've sold you on a
Yeah.
career in sales.
Yeah.
Klaviyo, as Will mentioned, we newly minted IPO. It's a MarTech software,
Yeah.
and we found our feet in the e-commerce vertical. So all
Yeah.
those great emails you get saying, "Hey, you forgot this in your basket," they come from
That's
Klaviyo. We
Klaviyo.
help brands to really understand who those shoppers are,
Yeah.
and how they can best create experiences for them. And we are hiring. We are hiring across our inbound team, which is an excellent place to first learn your skills in sales. Some of our mid-market reps now were inbound reps back in the day and have gone through that full journey. So big promote from within culture at Klaviyo, which is
Yeah.
great. But if you've had a bit of experience or you've done a course, we have outbound roles. If you've come across this podcast and you're a seasoned seller, let's talk. I'm hiring on my entrepreneur AE team. We're hiring an
Yeah.
SMB and mid market, but super growth over here. And at the end of the day, if you want to chat about getting into sales, please do reach out. I'm
Yeah.
always open to advice, even if I can't give you a pathway myself. Anything that I can do,
Always.
I'll
Amazing.
always do.
I just like honestly like with Klaviyo, that L&D budget sounds amazing, at least
Mm,
in itself. I mean, any company that's going to invest in your learning and development, go for things like that. Even if you don't
yeah.
know what, most of you probably don't know what e-commerce and martech probably really means just yet. And even if you
Yeah,
do, but a company that's going to invest in
basically
you,
it's a great
yeah,
company.
It is. You can clearly see like the caliber of leadership, like yourself. You know, I know a few of your.
You're gonna make me blush. I went out the room.
Well, you know, you can be a bit charming in sales, can't you? So, but like the point being is like you can clearly see anyone that's listening that the caliber of leadership that is at this company. I'd be going for it if I was looking for a sales role. So, guys, Sian, first off, thank you so much. I've enjoyed getting to know you because we've been crossing paths for so long. We did a course with Dave the other day, and now we finally got to know each other a bit better, and we got to learn we are so wildly aligned. I can't wait to one day have a beer with you and talk through more about that stuff. But thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for listening if you've got this far. See you all soon, and remember, your future, it's on Meritt. Did you know the average salary for an SDR is between £28,000 and £32,000? That's one of the highest entry-level jobs out there. The trick is standing out from the crowd to get that role. And with Meritt, we make that possible for you. So all you need to do is upload your CV and our AI will build your profile and match you with top companies in seconds. Then ace our video interviews to show off what makes you unique. Don't just apply, get noticed and get hired. So visit Meritt.io today and take your first step towards a high-paying SDR role. Remember, your future is on Meritt.